In this video, I'm going to show you how to install n8n locally on your local computer, Mac or Windows. You don't have to actually pay for cloud hosting. And for some of the workflows like video generation, where you can actually use, especially if you have a good GPU for your computer, personal computer, you can actually run these video generation models like WAN or LTX, which doesn't require that much GPU anyway, and then create these videos locally. And so I'm going to start with showing you how to set up n8n, very simple videos, how to get started with n8n locally. First, I'll start with locally installing it, then I'll create another video how to do a hybrid install. For example, you will use n8n local installation instance for video generation, then it will share a database with the cloud instance, not necessarily n8n cloud, but an instance that you have running on Railway or other hosting platforms, hosting providers. This one specifically is for hosting it on your computer. That I'll do a second video, but let's start with how to get this installed locally. So if you're on Mac, it's a bit trickier because especially if you have a Apple Silicon M1, M2, M3 versions, because the recommended way of installing n8n anywhere is using Docker. Docker is a virtualization service. So think of it as a computer inside a computer. So it comes like a package that you can install it right away and start running any sort of application, which you can basically lift and put into any other machine and it will still work. So it is not operating system dependent. But that won't work in M1 Apple Silicon, the computers with Apple Silicon. Docker doesn't have access to the Metal Shaders API, which Apple's version of CUDA. So it will always use, especially if you're using something for like video generation, it will always use the CPU. So in those instances, if you have an Apple machine and you have a Apple Silicon and you want to do all the GPU intensive work, go with npm install, Node.js install. This is another way of installing it. If you go to n8n hosting in your n8n hosting documentation, self-hosting n8n, there's an npm option here. So this is not using Docker, but using Node server. Node is like a runtime for running Node applications. Yeah, you don't need to know much about it. You just have to install Node first. So you must have Node.js installed. So if you go there, this is run JavaScript anywhere. Go to download. N8 requires 18 version, one of the LTS versions. They recommend the 18.0 any versions starting from there. But the latest one is 22.16. So LTS means long-term support. So it doesn't support 23 yet or 24. So you need up to 22, I think. So Node.js 18 and above. So that means probably, but if you try to run it on 22, 23, it won't work. I've tried it on my machine. I recommend download 22 long-term support version and click on Mac or Windows. If you have a Mac, x64 the Intel architecture, ARM64 is the Apple Silicon. So make sure you click the ARM64 and download the package version of that. And then after you do that, it will take a while to download. Or if you don't want to do that, you can also run these commands one by one especially if you have multiple Node versions in terminal, which is, if you are technically savvy, you don't need to know much about it. You just have to copy paste it. If you get an error, go with the Mac installer. The thing with using NVM here is that you can maintain multiple versions of Node.js 22, 18 on your computer. So once that is downloaded, you simply go to your downloads and double click on that, and it will start the installation procedure. And then click on continue, and then proceed to the final step, finish the installation, then it will be installed. So once that is done, if you go to your terminal, I'm using a terminal on Mac, it is just terminal here. I'm using a different program called iTerm. It's basically the same functionality, it's a bit more developer friendly. You don't have to install that. And once you have that, when you do Node, it should show you I have 23 installed and I use the command line version of Node. So for me, if you followed the instructions here, I follow this method. I can just switch to, for you it won't be visible, but it will say whatever version it is. So for me, I have 18 installed. In VM, I'm going to just use 18. So now if I do Node, it should be using 17. 18. Let me just go ahead and install 22, I think. 22.16 to 16.0 so that we're on the same page. And if you're getting the same errors, we know that we did later if you ask me in the comments if something went wrong, I know that we used the same procedure. So now if I do nvm use 22.16.0, 0. Now if I do node, you'll get the same information. So Control C will to exit, Control C, it will exit out of that. So now it's pretty easy to, the very first thing is that you don't even have to install n8n on your local machine. You can just start running it by using this command. And the X, that means node package execute, I think. Node package execute. And so it download n8n and start running it. So n8 is at 195. And then if you proceed, press enter there. Take a while to execute it. I'm getting an error. It's probably because I need permissions. Probably that's the problem. So if I do sudo npx10, then you enter your password. Sudo will give you admin privileges on Mac or any Linux distribution. If you're using WSL on Windows, it's the same command, which is the Windows subshell for Linux. That looks like it's working. No errors. So sudo npx n8n. Now that is complete and n8n is accessible at that. So that URL over there. So if you press O, n8n is configured to use a secure cookie, however, or Safari. Okay, you can't use Safari. So open it in Chrome. Safari probably has stricter permissions. If you remove that permission, configure the permission setting, you will be able to open it in Safari as well, but you need to use a lower security setting. So there you go. You have n8n installed, but this is not the proper, you can start using it like this. There's no problem with that, but the right way to do it probably will be to have a database and everything like that for a little bit of more performance and things like that. So you wouldn't see this page because I had installed it previously. I had created a user for this. It is logging me in, obviously. So I have to, you will see a different screen. So let me just then uninstall that. npm uninstall. So now if I do that again, I should probably see the port already in use. So I'm going to kill that process on that port 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't need to know all this. Oh, you have to use sudo again. Now if I do that, I'm still logged in. Yeah, I think it's because I have a previous configuration for n8n. Let me just remove that. rm-rf, that n8n directory, .n8 directory. You can manually remove it from Finder window as well. If you're thinking, like in Windows, it will be Explorer. You can go to user hash 10. This is the directory that we are going to delete. We'll start over because I have a previous installation. It's just directly logging me in. So I need permissions, sudo again, and now I can say npx n8n. Let me just sudo npx n8n. Now if I open it, yeah, then you will get the screen that you will get the first time you come here, open n8n. It will ask you to set it up. So give your email and your first name, last name, and create a password. Use a strong password. I'm going to delete it again and start all over again, so I don't really care about remembering it. And then next, then you can click outside of this or get started. And then this is, you have to use this, but if you are installing locally, yeah, I'll show you this part as well. So if you, a lot of paid features, even in the community edition, this is the free version that you're installing locally, right? For you to use all the paid features, you need to still have a license key. It is free, but you still need to activate it with the license key. So you click on send me a free license key. I doubt it worked though, because I don't have any mail servers configured on my local machine, but let's see. I'm not sure how that works. I got the license key. So copy that and come back to your n8n. That's not it. Oh, that is it actually, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna do that again. Don't know why it didn't retain that. So come back here, and if I go to settings, then you have usage and plan and enter activation key, and copy paste that activation key and activate. Now you'll get all the other, you're on the community edition, and it will show you that you're registered. Then you have access to all the other features that wouldn't be available to you otherwise. So that is how you set it up. You can start from scratch or try this agent example here. Click on that, and that is a simple agent example. You can create your API key you can enter your OpenAI API key there. Go to API platform OpenAI and create an API key over there from over there. So you can click on here after logging into your platform OpenAI account, API keys, and then you can create a new key, select your project and create a secret key, copy that, come back to your workflow, paste that in there, and then now you have your basic OpenAI agent. You don't have to save that. You don't have to save that. Come back here, and now click on Open Chat here and ask something like, what is the name for a female cat? I think it's Queen. So now you'll come back with an answer. An agent logs. That is not supposed to happen. Oh, okay, it has some sort of prompts. Oh, it's actually teaching you how to set it up. So you have to add simple memory and everything. Let's see. Now again, tools. It is taking you through I haven't actually seen this. I used the tool and choose Google Calendar. Google Calendar. All right. And now what? Choose a credential. Yeah, I don't have set up. I don't really want to set it up right now. So I'm going to, so you can actually follow that too. It will guide you through how to actually use your first agent. I think it's pretty cool. But for now, I'm just going to remove all that. And I'm going to, for the prompt, I'm just going to redirect our chat input into our prompt here. So I will be just like, what is the name of the female cat? So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to delete that. That's it. That's the simplest AI agent there, something to chat with. So now the term for female cat is queen. I was right. So that's how we set up n8 using npx. So what we had a look at so far was this portion. We didn't even install it well, it installed locally when you run this, but you are not directly just executing it. Download and things that are needed to start n8n. And then the second option is this is probably the better option if you are using Apple Silicon and GPUs. Use this option. This is a very crude, very elementary, very basic option. I wouldn't recommend it, but that was just for demonstration purposes. You should use this one if you want to use Apple Silicon and its GPUs and the neural engine. It's pretty much the same procedure. Let me just go back and delete the whole installation. I'm going to remove what was that folder again, if you can't see it. So it delete all the configuration. And now I'm going to install it using this command, npm install n8n -g means globally. Just execute that command. You should be good to go. All right, now it's been installed, and same thing, but you need to actually start it. After that, you need to say n8n start or simply n8n. That will start the server, and permission denied. So do sudo n8n, and now you can click on the URL that it gives you. Same thing, go through it, add your activation key, and you can start with your workflows. Let me just quickly show you that. I'm going to use my already existing activation key. Settings, enter activation key. So it's register. So from here on, whenever you set up in our community, whenever you use trying to set up anything there, AI Maker, that's our community. Check it out. We are building a few things that are very cool. Classroom, if you're trying to set up any n8n automations from here, let's say this is the one people are trying to set up and failing most of the time, I think. This is the 3-in-1 lead generation cold outreach. So it sends emails for your prospects. First of all, what you need to do is you download the JSON, download it, and it'll get downloaded. And now you go to your installation and then go back to overview, click on this plus button or create workflow here. And you have to click on these 3 dots here and import from file. And then you select that JSON that you just downloaded. And then the whole workflow will load. So we'll have all this setup here. I'll go into the setup of this specific workflow. It is already there in the school community, but I'll probably go into a bit more detail. I'm finding some people are having difficulties there. You'll have to set up all these Telegram and stuff like that. So I'll make another video for how to set it up. Before I had a video of demonstrating it, but I'll go through another video with which you can actually set it up. So that's how you basically import the workflow and that's how you install n8n locally. And in the next video, I'll show you how to install it using Docker, which is a better option if you have a Windows machine, a CUDA installed, and have the graphics card ready to do local stuff for video generation and stuff like that. I'll see you in the next one. If you want to join the community, here it is. We have a ton of, constantly adding new n8n automations, and also going to add some more vibe marketing, vibe coding stuff here so that you can actually productize using, if you have an idea, you can actually build it and launch it as a software automation rather than an n8n automation. n8n is good for quick prototyping. You don't have to have a backend, or if you're working with a client who doesn't want to hire coders or be bothered with coders, this is a good option for them. So n8n backend and front end will be code or Airtable or something like that. So I'll be adding all those information here. Check it out if you want. The link for this is that, and I'll also include that in the description. So check it out, and I'll see in the next video about how to install this using Docker and cloud setups as well. We'll go through step by step, and from start to finish, I'll show you how to do the whole thing. I just noticed that there's a lot of beginners joining the community. Yeah, this is why I'm doing this.